Uh, hey. Wow, that's a new shirt, isn't it? Anyway, welcome to another video in the building of Scepterpan City. It's me, your boy, Scepterpan. I guess that's my intro now, isn't it? It's kind of crazy. You never really anticipate what you're going to do as an intro. Or maybe you do. I don't know how YouTubers figure out this stuff. But anyway, yes, it's another episode. Let's get to it. Right now, we're fixing up the intersection. Before, it was just a normal trumpet. It was a trumpet intersection. I planned it that way because I thought that the main connection to Velveteen Quarter would be through Valentina Venture, the little island that we built in between the ravine and the river. That didn't exactly happen that way because the island became too big. It's actually it has the biggest population in Valentina itself, so you have to take that into consideration when you're trying to build traffic, of course, because you don't want to get congestion. You don't want people to basically have to take all these very arduous routes where a lot of cars are driving, and as well for pollution, I assume, sound, so basically noise complaints. You want to try and keep that all down. So essentially what I did is redraw my intersection here, so that instead of a three-way, which would bypass through Valentina just to go to the Velveteen Quarter, I decided to do something else instead and create a four-way intersection that actually leads into Velvetina Ventures, Velvetina. Man, I love alliteration and everything, but man, I'm going crazy here. Woo! We're gonna try that again. So yes, there's one specific highway off-ramp, or a set of off-ramps that are dedicated to going straight into Valentina Ventures, and there's one directly going into Velveteen Quarter, as well as there's a cargo terminal and a passenger terminal, or a train station, I should say. Train stations on an island further down, so I think it works a lot better this way. It creates easier connections. There's also a connection that leads down the ridge, as you can see from the cliff here towards the west. Actually, I was thinking about the way that the sun works in this fucking game, you know? The sun comes up from the west every single time. That doesn't make any fucking sense. That doesn't make any sense. Well, whatever. I guess I can't change it now, can I? I mean, there's no way to change it. That's pretty strange. But that's how, I don't know. It's pretty weird. We're gonna have to keep it because there's nothing I can do to change that. But anyway, we're gonna create Valentina Industrial Park. We're gonna do a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna let you see that and the song.
Was just failing. I'm only half afraid of what I might say, 'cause there is a landfill in my mouth that I will swallow today. It's under my tongue. I pour myself more than I know, more than they made. Feelings flow like Michigan, police way onto the place, onto the
So yeah, right here we're creating a little sunken highway so that traffic towards the water treatment facility that you see here on that little strip, that's where it's going to be, so that traffic there is not interrupted. And the area that we just created is going to be, well, it's planned to be the garbage chute, shuttle state, whatever you would call it. It's basically where we're going to do the garbage disposal and recycling plants.
A dozen children's laid eggs in my tea. Worry, I won't get worried. Only giving away what we can't say. I pour myself more than I owe, more than they made, and feelings
So yeah, you see all these ramps here is essentially to disperse the traffic, because you want to have as little amounts of cars on these roads as humanly possible, or I don't know, possible in any sense. I mean, you don't want it to get swarmed and swamped in with cars. And yes, that part right there was extending the existing neighborhoods of Valentina, as to, you know, give the map a little bit of a transition, as well as having a new train station that connects into the other regions, which should be pretty helpful at least. And of course, I'm going to add bus routes along these roads as well. So again, you want to have as the least amount of people actually driving. At least that's the idea. So we added a little train station here. We're going to make the trains bypass it if it wants, so that once we have train stations further down south into the main city of Scepterpan itself, we can have trains that go all along, and they don't have to stop these small terminal stations. They can actually go past, maybe like straight to Purple Suburbia, where there's a bigger population or whatnot. That's my new word. I come up with something new every week, don't I? Oh man, a week's fly by again, man. Like, what have you been up to, man? I'm really, I don't know. I'm really digging that shirt, though. It's pretty, like, is that from something? Is that like a band, or is that a TV show? Yes, I've been playing the YouTube library, the audio library, in order to get some more tracks to help out with basically having something in the background playing, so it's not just the game sounds and me, because that might be a little, I don't know, boring. So yes, South Valentina is going to get expanded there officially now, and this is where we're going to have one of these water purifiers, these big clarifiers, and here we're starting to add the garbage disposal things. And of course, I wanted to do this for the longest time, is to change our power situation, because most of the time we've been relying on those strange windmills that we used to have, or we still have currently in Purple Suburbia, Higher Falls. And I wanted to get rid of that because it looked hideous. It's not what I originally intended. It was a temporary solution, and thank God now I can change it. Here's where we're going to build our nuclear power plant. And I know a lot of people knock up nuclear power plants. I'm sorry, it's just very eco-friendly. Modern techniques and whatnot, prevent a lot of meltdowns. And, you know, there's a lot of water here, so it shouldn't go wrong. But when it does, the dam will not be able to close off soon enough. The dam, of course, being something that leads down in the main river that you see there. I'll point it out later once we get to that. But yeah, that's essentially the idea here, is that our power is completely relying on nuclear power. That's it. So yes, and it's just it's pretty sweet, I think, all together. I mean, I think it's a really good solution, because we can concentrate a very big power source in one area, as well as having the dam. The dam is gonna, like, I tested out like how much energy I could get out of the dam. I didn't want to instill it yet because I don't want it to function yet. It's not necessary at this point because the nuclear power plant actually creates twice the amount of energy that we need, and I believe we had up to like 20 of those windmill modules, all doing something like 13 kilowatts. Yeah, that's not necessary anymore because the nuclear power plant does around 634, I believe, on its own. But I tested the dam, and the power that we can generate from the dam in that location, like at its most beneficial that I was able to find it, was actually in 384 motherfucking kilowatts. I mean, holy moly, that's a lot of power in it. So I'm not putting that down yet, but that's like half of the nuclear power plant. And then you get the arguments, of course, oh, why you want to have dam? It's bad for fish and whatever. Well, it's near a waterfall. You really think fish are going to swim near a motherfucking waterfall? And it's because of the waterfall that we can have such high velocity power. So this actually started to make me think about having more of those, having more dams along the rivers, especially the waterfalls here, because I was every time that I tried to build dams in this game, and they only have they had pretty minimal power output, like usually like 72 kilowatts up to 130. But man, this drop right here on I don't know what the river is called actually. That's a shame. I'll think of something. But anyway, the drop there it's so beneficial. Like 340 kilowatts. It's an incredible power source. So, but I'll do that later as soon as we actually will need as much power, because I don't want to waste too much money. Later on, I'll also shut off a lot of the water treatment. I don't know what you'd call them. It's not really facilities. They are facilities, but basically these the water treatment plants, those different I don't know, aquifers or purifiers. Yeah, I'm gonna turn those off because we simply don't need them at this point either. I mean, we're up to 20,000 inhabitants in our city, and we might start growing into that, because next episode we're gonna do Velveteen Quarter, and Velveteen Quarter is designed to be very high residentially. But I'm not gonna speak out of term. That's gonna be for next week. You're gonna see that, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing it. I'm already starting to develop it. And I have two short little snippets at the end of this video where you can see a preview of what's going to happen in that episode. Basically, I'm fixing the road network a little bit, and we're going to have a giant cathedral in the middle. But you'll see it as it comes. Again, don't want to speak out of term. So this is the island you just saw was the Princess Crossing, and the Princess Crossing is essentially just the way for Valentina traffic to cross into Velveteen Quarter, as well as the people that go over by this ridge, whether they go by train or whether they go by the highway. That's extremely scary. Like, look at these, like this right here, these bridges. I mean, my, if somebody goes through the barricade, which might be very difficult, but I don't know what kind of weather you would have in a tropical location like this, but I could assume that in some type of calamity, like some natural disaster, that'd be horrible to be on exactly those ridges right there. My, and that's why I initially called the district around it the little loop. I called that the death drop. I mean, if you drop them there, you're definitely dead. Later on, I called it the ghost trail, because I thought ghost trail would, I don't know. It seems a little less on the nose, doesn't it? And it kind of creates this atmospheric thing about it, like I don't know, if you want to go there at night or something around all these lumber mills. So yes, I guess I could talk about the industry that we're doing in Valentina Industrial Park. That's by and large, we have a lot of manufacturing, so the ones who have raw goods imported, and we have ore mining initially, but you know, I was surprised by how quickly ore depletes in game, so I might fix it later on by having a mod install whereby it doesn't deplete at all. I don't know whether or not I'm going to do that. For now, it's later on it just becomes some manufacturing. But the other one that's renewable, that's the one with trees, the foresting industry, which is all along the ridge side here. And I'm thinking we're going to start with the end right now, because these are the classic cinematic shots that you're getting used to. I also added a big satellite dish that you could see earlier on, and that should be pretty nice. Here's the garbage disposal area, of course. It's just, again, how I want to build the city is that you have things that you can look at in the skyline itself, like if you're on a pedestrian level, and you can recognize areas very simply, so it's easy to travel and it's very recognizable. So here we have this windmill on its own, which I mean, it sticks out. Usually people think it's horribly ugly to have these things, but I think just one on its own, I mean, it might be very noisy to live near it, but I think it looks kind of quaint, as well as it supplies power to all the facilities and the buildings on the Princess Crossing. So I think it's pretty unique looking in a sense. I mean, it's the only windmill that we have up to this point, so I guess it ties into the green aspect of the city itself. So these are some looming shots of the intersection here. The traffic is fantastic. I worked around the traffic issue for like at least an hour, and I've been able to get rid of a lot of the problems. So I guess I'll talk about the districts now. So yes, you have the Ghost Trail all the way there on the right side, and then we have the Princess Crossing right next to it. We have Valentina Industrial Entrance. We have the Valentina Industrial Park proper, and then we have, of course, the intersection, and we have the park that is dedicated around the ear of Scepterpan, the Scepterpan ear. Or, well, the satellite dish. Kind of, you know, it reminds me of the big ear in San Andreas. I always really like going there. I thought it'd be interesting to have a similar thing here, as well as it creates power in game. Don't know why it should, but it does, and we might use that later. I think it generates up to 200 or 130 kilowatts. Something like that. I don't know exactly how much it generates, but that should give you an idea of what it's capable of and our power solutions. Though it might be a little cheating, I guess. Again, trying to rework these lines here, these train tracks. It's really difficult to work with these, basically these very stark ridges, but it worked in the end. I think it'd be amazing to drive the train on here, you know, just to look out, and you can later on you can see Scepterpan City itself. You can see Clemency Crest, the big cathedral on the hill. You can see the Tesla Towers. You can see Raffia Strip, all from those ridges. I mean, it's an amazing sightseeing experience, I'm sure, as well as just taking your car, but that might be a little less safe. Yes, I don't know if I have much else to say. It's good to talk to you, man. Like, I miss you every single time, man. And maybe we should go out and do something sometime, man. I think you're a cool guy. Yeah, I don't discriminate. I call everybody guys, so don't take it the wrong way. So yes, that was the episode. It's a little shorter than usual. I got done with it earlier than I expected. The filming of it was mostly me trying to lay out the road network. I thought that wouldn't be as interesting to watch, so I didn't do that. I did most of the filling in on my own. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you want, you can click over there to see the next episode. Real easy, real easy. Click, click, click away. Only if you want, of course. And, yeah, that's it. I hope to see you next time. I love you.
I didn't even know what this game was about until I started playing. Starting to make jokes now? You think this is funny, man? You think this is funny coming in my room right now? I'm trying to record a motherfucking video for these people.
I was thinking my mic just fucked up.